It's time to hear it from Harlan. Utah Director of Athletics Mark Harlan takes you behind the scenes with the Utes, the Pac-12 Conference, and collegiate athletics. Now, here's your host, Mike Legasholt.
Welcome to the December edition of the Hear From Harlan podcast. Coming up, Utah football is off to the Vegas Bowl to take on Northwestern on December 23rd. We'll talk about that game, and the men's and women's basketball teams are off to excellent starts, including some big wins over BYU the last 2 weeks. And speaking of hoops, we'll have the reigning ESPN National Player of the Week, Alissa Pili, joining Mark in his one-on-one interview. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate talking to you today and getting everybody up to speed.
I know we've been a busy guy during the fall months, but a lot to talk about on campus here. And let's start with football. You know, there are years where you're just trying to almost in some ways get through it, keep it going. And I thought to get to 8 wins with this team with all the injuries and guys just stepping in and next man up mentality to go 8-4 to get a Vegas Bowl berth. What a really nice year for the Utah football team.
Mike, I couldn't agree more. I really thought in looking at it, we've had a few weeks to just reflect before we head down to Vegas next week, but just a remarkable job by Coach Whittingham and the staff, getting so many folks ready to play when they needed to lean in. The program has always said next man up, and boy, that was absolute case this year. There's not excuses in college football. You know, as Whit likes to say, no one cares. But as the director, I can take a deep look and really, appreciate the depth of this program, appreciate the coaching in this program, and really the student athletes who just battled, right?
Yeah.
And 8 wins, obviously. At the beginning of the year, probably thought more, whatever, but it doesn't matter. It's about the journey, and it's about the fight that these guys had, and just grateful for our fans all year, filling up Rice Eccles. Anytime we played, and we never take that for granted. And I think more than I can remember, to be honest with you, the last 2 years at the Rose Bowl and all that kind of stuff, I just think there's going to be a lot of joy in the Las Vegas Bowl, to have this group together one last time before we head into this new conference and move forward from there. But just a really terrific year in a lot of different metrics.
I know for some fans, being the game on the 23rd, that close to Christmas Eve, could be tough for some, but nice, easy drive. Allegiant Stadium, if you haven't been there, is a first-class venue. It's always fun to go down to Vegas, and it's just a chance to watch some guys play the last time and see some young guys step in. I know with some opt-outs and transfer portal, it's going to be a different era now in college football for non-playoff teams. We'll see some different guys who we'll see a lot of next year get to play against Northwestern, so it should be kind of fun for the fans to get a sneak peek of the 24 season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I have complete understanding of folks that can't make the game. I believe the Salt Lake City School District goes right up until the 22nd. The game's on the 23rd. But,
yep.
That being said, I would encourage everybody that's still on the fence to really consider coming to the game. It's a great team. There's a lot of new faces, Mike. You said it well, that have played this year that probably wouldn't have played because of the injuries, and certainly will get time in the bowl game. It's another opportunity for any of our red shirts to play in the game because they changed that rule. So there'll be some people that are going to be household names, I can assure you, in the next year or two that'll be suiting up in this game. It is a new day in college football, and I respect everybody's decisions on this. We're not immune to opt-outs, who are getting ready and want to make sure they're healthy as they can be as they pursue the NFL draft. And those that want to transfer, they work it out with their coaches. Either they're going to play in the game or they won't play in the game. Those are all individual conversations that happen. So I think we just have to embrace that, right? We're going to have great students every year that are competing for the Utes. But, listen, the other thing is I get competitive. This is Northwestern, okay? We all remember the 2018 game. We had them. The rain came coming down. We had some issues with ball protection in the second half, and they caught us and got us. So, there are a few left besides the athletic director and coaches that I do believe remember that game. And we just could use everybody's support. We have a history of turning Allegiant Stadium into Rice Eccles South, and I would prefer and hope that our fans step up. As we've seen, tickets are going, and we're very appreciative. But I hope more people jump in and join us.
Yep, should be a lot of fun. December 23rd in Vegas. And by the way, Northwestern, not expected to do a lot this year. They'll be amped up for this game, a chance to kind of put an exclamation point on their year. So should be a lot of fun. The Utes and Wildcats, December 23rd down in Vegas. Well, Marcus, we head towards the holidays. It is the thick of non-conference basketball season. Man, I tell you what, the last few Saturdays in Huntsman, have been spectacular. We'll start with the women's game against BYU. Over 6,000 here December 2nd. The women won easily, but just to see that crowd turn out, the energy for a non-conference women's game was outstanding, and just a lot of fun to see the fans turn out the way they have so far this year.
Yeah, just really pleased. We were so excited about, I think, 1,200 plus extra tickets for season tickets for women's basketball. Our fans are coming out, seeing a great team. They're going to see the best player in college basketball, and Alissa Pili, who's going to join us in a few minutes. But, just a great turnout for the BYU game. Now let's just build on that. It's fun. It's a great environment to come and watch this women's basketball team play.
Also, women back home for Weber State, December 21st. They play at Southern Utah on the road this Saturday. For men's basketball, Mark, speaking of fun days, we had another one this past Saturday. Number 13, BYU came in. Sellout crowd plus of 15,648 in the Huntsman. And the Utes got the win by 4. For people who've been around for a while, they remember great crowds over the years. I'm going back to the 60s and 70s during the history of that entire building, to have that place rocking like it was Saturday. Another just great afternoon of basketball in the Huntsman.
Yeah, just an incredible job by Craig and the staff, preparing for BYU all week. BYU came in really, really hot. Just a bunch of great shooters. I give them credit, right? They've had some injuries on their team, and they've really, kind of gone to a perimeter-oriented offense and defense, and it's caused teams like San Diego State and others some real issues. But we were ready for it. We had a lights out first half. We and then we learned in the second half, right? It's something about college basketball. Like when you have a lead, it's almost like you just gotta. I know the other team just comes gunning for you. We do the same. We did the same last year. We were down there, and we came all the way back. I think we were down by 17, and we came all the way back. So it was almost a kind of a mirror of last year's game. We flipped it, but the way we fought, the way we won, shows I think the additional steps that Craig and this team have taken this year, and the staff. And yeah, I call that an Apple Watch game, because the Apple Watch kept buzzing that I was in a loud environment and needed, I don't know what it was trying to tell me, but it was so loud and awesome. And it just goes to that overall mantra that I always talk to our fans about. You help us win. Yeah. We talk about it in football. SC last year, jumping off sides multiple times. Florida they couldn't even get their plays off earlier in the year when we were playing Florida. It's the same inside, maybe even more so. It gets to teams. They get nervous. They don't shoot as well. It's just awesome. And like I said, with the women's team, it's just a great team to watch. So I cannot tell you how excited I am about the arena season coming forward with these two teams. So I really encourage everyone to come down and take a look.
Yeah, Utah Valley comes in this Saturday at 2 p.m. But you look at this men's team, Mark, already wins over St. Mary's, Wake Forest. Great battle against Houston out in South Carolina. Played St. John's tough, although they kind of hit the wall energy-wise, understandable against those 3 teams in those 4 days. But a lot of great signs for Craig and company.
And Kiba got hurt, and we're all seeing what he's doing. He's a game changer. So you're right. It's been a really tough schedule. I'd argue it's one of the toughest schedules anyone in the country has faced, maybe outside of Arizona, who's playing a bunch of top 5 teams of late. But yeah, just really testing us. A few more non-conference games for both these programs, and then we head into the Pac-12.
All right, cross-country, Mark, another outstanding fall for Kyle Kepler's team. They were 13th at the NCAA Championships on November 18th, second highest finish in school history for them.
Yeah, just an incredible race. I saw Kep when they got back. He was so excited. Just an incredible effort. I mean, just that program in the last 2-3 years has really turned it around, and Kep has done such a great job, and just a great finish.
Yeah, for that team, a couple All-Americans for them. McKaylee Caesar, Anna Peters, both All-Americans. In fact, Caesar was 26th, Peters 33rd, so congrats to Coach Kep. They've been a regular nationals, and again, 13th this year in the nation. Well, Mark, it's pretty rare when you hear an opposing coach say, "We can't stop her." Those were the words of Dawn Staley on Sunday, the South Carolina head coach, when Utah faced Alissa Pili. And these will visit with Alissa when we come back with more of the Hear From Harlan podcast.
For tickets, apparel, team schedules, and more on the Utes, visit UtahUtes.com, the official website of Utah Athletics.
Well, we are really, really fortunate today to have just an extremely awesome student athlete join the podcast, which I always say, although I do like lags, this is the best part of the podcast. And we are just absolutely overjoyed that Alissa Pili, coming off just an incredible road trip out east, is here to get us up to speed on all things women's basketball, how things are going for her here at the U, and this final run in college basketball. So, Alissa, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Because I know you're really busy. You're in the middle of your season, and like I said, you're back from a big road trip. Well, here we are taping early in the week, and even right before we we got started, we find out that you're the ESPN Player of the Week for just an enormous performance all week. But frankly, it's been like this ever since you arrived here at the University of Utah. What you've done for this program, energized this fan base. I think we had something like 1,300 additional season tickets sold just last year after you guys, incredible accomplishments all year. So let's go back a little bit before we talk about the rest of this season. Let's just talk a little bit about your journey, right? You obviously, you can pick it up wherever you want, but an incredible student athlete up in Alaska. We'll get to that trip too. Went to USC, and now you're here. So tell us why you wound up at the University of Utah.
Yeah, so starting off at USC, I had a great freshman year, got freshman of the year, and I think that was a good kind of start to my collegiate career. And so my sophomore year, I got hurt. I sprained my ankle pretty bad. And, coming back from that was really tough. And before that had happened, I never experienced any injury that had kept me out of the game for so long. So it was something that I struggled with mentally, physically, and all that. So once I did get a little bit healthier, I probably wasn't 100%, but I ended up playing the end of the season in January. And, I was very out of shape. I hadn't done anything in so long. And so, to get my game back to where I knew it could be, it was tough. And it was just kind of mentally draining, I think, to just know what I'm capable of, but not performing out there on the court. So, I try to kind of wait it out, go another, year at SC, and, we got new coaches. And, everything, I got nothing but respect for those coaches and all the staff there and the players. But, it just wasn't the right fit for me. And I was going through a lot, not even with basketball.
Right.
But, I had 3 of my family members pass away, kind of back to back to back. And that was super tough on me mentally, and, I don't blame, anybody at USC for, just the way I was feeling and the way, I felt like I couldn't come back from that because it's a hard situation to be there for someone that's going through something like that.
Absolutely.
So, I was really grateful for what they did, for them doing what they could to support me. But, at the end of the day, for when I look back on basketball and all that, I kind of just, in my mind, I thought I needed just a fresh start. I needed to go somewhere new, kind of look at it as like my freshman year all over again, somewhere I had to prove myself all over again and put in the work. And so because I think at USC I did get a little comfortable and, it wasn't doing it for me, so I had to, change my environment. And so when I entered the transfer portal, I had schools reaching out to me. It wasn't as busy as it was in high school because, I learned from that you can't really keep schools around if you're not going to go there,
Right.
So I didn't want to waste their time and I didn't want my time to be wasted. So I kind of made it, narrowed it down more when I went through the transfer portal. And so the funny thing is I was actually, I went to Gonzaga for a visit. That was my first visit. And they recruited me in high school, so I knew the coaches very well and had a good relationship with them. And so once I went on my visit, I loved it. And, I kind of told my parents, I'm ready to just commit,
That's right.
And so, I had talked to Coach Lynn, and, I was familiar with their coaching staff because they've been here for a little while since I was at USC. And so, I was aware of, the talent that they had brought in and, how obviously the good season they had the year before. And, it was just something that, I just kind of had that gut feeling I got to check this out and see it for myself. So I did that. I went on my visit regardless of thinking I was going to commit to Gonzaga.
Your mind was open.
Yeah. So I went on my visit, and it was just me and my mom. My dad stayed back with the rest of my siblings. And so we came here, you know, and I didn't realize, or I didn't expect to be just so blown away with, you know, what I experienced and what I saw in this program. And so, you know, I remember this exact moment. I was in the locker room changing into the jersey to get ready for the photo shoot they do. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, this isn't going to be as easy as I thought it was. Like, you know, I really like it here, and this is going to be a tough decision for me. So, you know, later I talked it over with my family and just kind of took some time with myself, just kind of thinking of, you know, okay, like, what do I want to accomplish, and, like, what place will fit me best to get me to that spot. And honestly, Utah had it all, like, down to the coaching staff, the support, to just being a great basketball team and a great program. So, you know, the biggest thing for me, I think, was just the way Coach Roberts and, you know, the rest of the coaching staff believed in me, especially because, you know, I'm coming off of a couple bad seasons at USC, and, I mean, bad for me. I thought they were bad.
I was going to say, wait a minute. You got a high bar.
So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't performing like I wanted to. So, you know, just them having that faith in me, even though, you know, I may not have done as well, that kind of just, like, made me realize that this was the place for me, and, you know, that these coaches are going to do whatever they can to help me get to the next level and help me achieve my goals in that aspect. So, yeah, that's why I chose to come here.
Well, that's just, well, first of all, I think it's really interesting for folks to listen how the portal works, especially when you've gone through a recruiting process the first time, and you really are able, as a more mature person, right? We grow every year, and to be able to be really thoughtful. And I think for me, you know, you knew exactly what you were looking for because you experienced some great services at USC, and I appreciate your comments. I tell that to students all the time, whether they're transferring away or coming to us. I mean, it's not a slight against the school. It's just like you said it. You know, you had some stuff in your personal life that needed a fresh start and all of that. But when you went looking, you knew what you were looking for, as opposed to some students coming out of high school. So good for you. Well, I would also say, I have a hard time saying no to Coach Rob. She'll come by and ask me for things, and I also know you probably had to go through that too. Well, I just closing this part, I appreciate you talking about the mental health challenges, particularly when you're coming off injuries. I think what we're learning more about in the administrative space, working with our incredible medical team and integrating with our health and wellness team, is that I think that's something we haven't, not we as in Utah, but we as in college athletics, have been slow to recognizing that the bones heal, right? But, you know, we certainly, as you know, you follow football, you follow all our sports. We've seen just terrible injuries this year and even into last year, but it's that mental.
Right.
So you're going 100 miles an hour and then you're going 1 mile an hour. Exactly. So good for you for recognizing it and managing through it all. So you get here and you just jump right in. I don't know if I've seen a student athlete that I can recall in my time just literally jumping right in. So that tells me that you got comfortable quick with your surroundings, with your teammates, and with your coaches. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, that's very accurate. I think it was, I've said this before, but it's just like I was where I was meant to be. Like I said, down to the coaching staff, to just how the program is ran. Like, I feel like a lot of my morals and values align with what these coaches are trying to accomplish at the end of the day. And, you know, just not even as a program, but just as people too. So I think that part definitely helped me be more comfortable and more, you know, they welcome me with open arms. And Coach Rob told me from the jump that she wants me to be, you know, a big part of this team. And so, you know, I took that and, you know, I did the work, did what I had to do to, you know, be that for her. So, and the team.
Well, you certainly have. Well, last year was an incredible year. You know, it was a joy to be with you guys on that ride, particularly in the postseason. You know, obviously South Carolina, I could tell in the locker room after that game. Obviously, everyone was so disappointed in the loss against LSU, but I felt just like it planted a seed in my mind, like, oh boy, like I don't necessarily think this team could even be dealt with because they're mad and they're going to go into this next season as a complete group, right? I mean, pretty much, I think 98% complete group, and look out, right? But I also just seeing this so many times when you come in with that kind of expectation and target on the back, whatever you want to say it. But you guys really managed that all summer. But talk a little bit about being the one that everybody is now hunting for this year.
I mean, it's something that I think we want as a program, and that we know that. I don't know. That's how it's supposed to be because
right.
We're a good team, and I think it's taken some time for people to recognize that. But getting that recognition, and when we play teams, they're giving us their best shot, and I mean it's just I feel like a testament to us and our team and how we play, and just how good of a team we are. And so, I mean, I feel like. In our program, too, the mentality is more of an underdog, too. So, like, I feel like that kind of takes off that pressure of having that target on our back. So we don't really think about it too much, but we know that, we got to show up every single game because people are going to want to come for us.
Absolutely. And, of course, your coaches just decided let's put together just the schedule, right? Because obviously knowing who was coming back and wanting to compete against the very best. Let's talk about something I think that was really, really special. And I know I've had a lot of people ask me about the trip to Alaska that you guys took. I wasn't able to go. I mean, Charmel called and said it's -2 here. Oh, my gosh. And she's walking around in shorts. I go, who, Alissa? She's walking around in shorts. How is she doing this? But I thought that was such a neat thing. And all the pictures and video coming back, the greeting at the airport, just talk a little bit about what that meant to you.
Yeah, I mean, coming off the plane and seeing my family just out there lined up with signs and everything. Like, it wasn't even just my I was thinking it was just going to be my parents and my siblings there to welcome us, but, it was a bunch of my extended family, too. So, and it was almost midnight, I'm pretty sure we got in.
It was late.
So just for them to be there, I think, like, right off the bat, that kind of showed just my roots of, like, me being this very supportive and caring person, just where that comes from. And how that support has really just like been there with me every step of the way. And it was just a cool moment. I got kind of emotional just seeing that, but it was a cool moment to, have them just be there because, it's always important and it always feels good to just have people that's going to be there for you no matter what.
It was your family. It was this extended family, and it kept going, right, the way I'm told. And then the arena, I mean, just turning on the iPad and watching, I mean, the place was packed.
It was.
I mean, it was packed to watch you and, of course, the Utes play. But they really, just have you come home was a real special moment. And just so you know, I've talked to some of your teammates offline when I've seen them come through this area, and they just – one of your teammates said it was one of the best experiences they've ever had going on that trip and watching the support for you. So it was transformational for a lot of the student athletes, and to see that kind of support and that kind of love, and I'm glad that all worked out. Well, speaking of road trips, obviously you guys just got back from a big East Coast swing, went 1-on-1 on the trip. Obviously, St. Joe's, just a great effort in a tiny gym that, one of those Philly gyms that are so famous for you guys. And then you went to go into the belly of the beast and play Don Stanley's South Carolina team. I mean, obviously, I know you're talking about games that we don't win isn't necessarily the funnest thing, and let's just understand that. But I do think we have to pause and talk about that game because it was riveting. I mean, as someone who was watching, and so many people that were watching that game, I put out on social media, I thought your performance in that game was the best of any individual student athlete I've seen here in my 6 years across our 20 sports. It was remarkable. Can you just talk about that game? And by the way, in the context of losing G, a week earlier, and just as we talked about in the beginning of this, the emotions of all of that. So just talk about that game. You know, it was something special.
Yeah. No, it definitely, losing G definitely hurt us. And, I think Coach did a good job of, we all, right after it happened, really met in the film room, addressed the elephant in the room. It wasn't just something that we could just, go on the next day and act like everything was fine. So we addressed it. We talked about it. It got a little emotional. And, Coach was really just honest about giving a little bit more now that, a big part of our team is gone. I mean, she's not gone, but, not out there on the court with us.
Sure.
But I think the most important thing for me and, for our team to let her know was that, her value doesn't change to this team, whether she's out there on the court or not. And so she could still contribute in ways that could really help our team. And, I know she's going to do that. She's a competitor and she's a great teammate. So I have no doubt in my mind that she'll find her way and, come back better. So, but.
And if I could just interrupt, in what you said about your experience at USC, I mean, you're going to lean on each other, right? Because you went through that.
Right.
And I'm sure you'll be incredible to help G, mentally and physically get back.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, about the game, man.
Deep breath. I know that was quite a game.
I mean, we kind of went into the game. We knew we had nothing to lose. This is the number one team in the country we're talking about. And, we know we're a good team and that we can compete at the highest level. So, we kind of weren't even really looking at it as we don't got nothing to lose. Kind of finding, a way out is kind of what our sports psychologist, Jonathan, was telling us. Go into this game knowing you can win and, not even thinking of losing as an option, not giving your way and out because they're a good team, because we're a good team too. And so I think especially after this game, a lot of people recognize that. And it's something that we could build off of, definitely. We got a lot of attention from, that game and just people, we're on people's radar now on a national level. And, I mean, we already were, but it's now more so than ever. So, I mean, it's a tough loss. Like you said, we're very disappointed in the loss. But, we learn from these games. And, I feel like it was better for us earlier in the season to be tested like that, just to, because we still have time. We still have time to adjust and, make those changes and sharpen those things that, could have potentially won us the game. And so, I mean, yeah, it was a great game. South Carolina's a great team, great coach. But it's definitely, something that we're not looking at as no, it's okay. That's the number one team that we lost to.
You're upset that you lost.
Yeah.
And I think Jonathan, and I'm sure you guys were right on top of it. I mean,
exactly.
They just learn. Although I got to say, I've been just a real fan of Dawn for years. Her journey. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen her talk about an opposing student athlete as what she said. I mean, she said it in the interview. I don't know if you've seen the TV copy. She said it in the interview, we're doing everything we can, and we cannot stop her. So we're simply going to have to try to outscore them. And then she said it again in the media. So obviously, to have one of the greatest players of the game say that is just incredible. Although I do, can we just talk about Jenna for a second? Have you ever been in a game where one of your teammates literally draws 5? I mean, maybe you have. I don't know. I mean, It was just I was thinking about that game all night. I was just your performance, and then Jenna. I mean, every time I looked, she was sliding back and hitting the basketball stanchion, and I mean, just everybody gave everything. And to your point, I think that really bodes well for what's coming and what will be another really good Pac-12 for this last lap around the Pac-12 that everybody's taking. And, you know, I know you guys saw the UCLA team out there. They look good. We can, you know, Stanford. I mean, it'll be a lot of fun as we turn the corner. The last thing I want to just talk to you about was just really about the fan base. That certainly in the last 2 years we've really seen an increase, and you know we saw it at the BYU game. A lot came out. I mean, last year's Stanford game. There's other games come to mind. Just a little bit of comment from you for people that are listening. What it means to have people in that arena when you guys play, like what it does for you guys. Just walk everyone through that.
Shoot, it's really different, like, because I would say I'm at USC, you know, we didn't really have anybody come to the games, and, you know, it's coming here and having the crowds that we have, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced, and, you know, it makes the game that much more fun, and, you know, whether I know everything is done out there on the court, but that energy and just that atmosphere, it does a lot for us, and having that, I would say it's an advantage, definitely. And it's just, like I said, like unlike anything, like you'll experience just that, hearing the crowd go crazy when your teammates or you make a good play. It's, man, you feel like you're on top of the world sometimes, and that's what we need in this game, you know, for our success. So it's helped a lot.
I really thank you. I just think that just makes such a difference, whether it's an extra bounce in your step or it's late in that fourth quarter and you're that energy, the other team's sucking oxygen, right? I mean, just bury them, and you guys are doing your thing. And so I just encourage everybody. I'm going to embarrass you for 1 second, but this is an opportunity to see one of the best teams in college basketball. But it's also a chance in these last few months to see one of the best basketball players in the country. I don't even think there's a question about it. And you just don't have that opportunity as a fan to see that kind of greatness come through all the time. And we're blessed that you're here, that the journey that you just so well spoke of brought you here. So appreciate you giving us the time today. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll all be watching.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Follow the Utes on social media by searching for Utah Athletics on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And welcome back to the Here from Harlan podcast. So, Mark, great interview with Alissa Pili. That could have been a standalone show. It was so good. She really opened up and got in depth with you. And just to hear her talk about, you know, the loss of 3 family members to USC. And one of the great things about the portal is it really gives athletes a chance to have a fresh start. And you kind of forget, as you mentioned, the mental aspect is so important, and for her to just kind of say, you know what, I'm going somewhere else, start new. That was provided to her here, and look at the results we've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah, she's just a remarkable young woman, and I was really happy that, you know, she was so transparent about her journey, because we know it here, and she's just as great as she is on the court. It's like 5 times how she is off the court. Her leadership, her care for her teammates, her seriousness in her studies, everything that she does, she just does it at a real high level. But I'm glad she talked about that. You know, I think the portal has become so negative in the way it's written and spoken about, but maybe it's because those of us that are in it every day, we realize that there is a lot of benefit to it. And I like what you said about fresh start. You know, we've seen a lot of student athletes come here in the portal and just really enjoyed their experience here. I hear it all the time, and that's a tribute to our support staff, our coaches, and everybody else. But I was really moved by that interview. I'm glad everyone, got a chance to listen to that. And I said it when we were closing with her, and I'm just going to say it again. You've got to come down and watch her play. It is extraordinary, and the team is extraordinary too. You just got to come down and see it for yourself. Yeah,
think about college. It's a short 4 to 5 year window for the athletes. You want them to get it right, and for fans, she's done after this year. And to have a National Player of the Year candidate who is just fantastic in so many aspects. So listen, fans, come watch her, as you said. It's going to be a great treat when we get the Pac-12 plays. So a great interview with Alissa Pili by you, Mark, and looking forward to watch her the rest of the season. A couple other things before we wrap up. We've had a full show, but some great news, Mark, on the Utah baseball stadium. America First Credit Union has signed a 10-year agreement to have the naming rights. It'll be called America First Ballpark, scheduled to open for the 2025 season. Some big news on the baseball front a few weeks back.
Yes, it's such a great partnership we have with America First Credit Union. They're incredible people, and they believe in our vision of what we're trying to do for student athletes here. They've been one of our top corporate sponsors for years. They donate to Utes with Wings, which is the support efforts for our women's athletes here. And then they stepped forward in this way. They knew it was something we had to get done. They knew it was important to us, which made it important to them. So they, along with some other donors, have allowed this project to be full speed ahead, and we're so excited about it. The USHE board approved, to let construction begin last week. So we're fired up. I just saw the latest design things, and I'm just really pleased. It's going to be a great step forward for our baseball program.
All right. Well, Mark, we talk so much about NIL as we need to right now, but you also need to focus and still keep your focus on scholarships and graduation rates. And the numbers came out last week. Utah now 94% graduation success rate as released by the NCAA. That's tied for fourth among all Power 5 public institutions, second best rate in school history. And so with all the things going on academically, Utah still getting it done at a high level here.
Yeah, it's just it's great. It came out last week or when it was, and just got a big smile on my face and remind everybody that tracks any student athlete that's entered here 6 years prior, has graduated at 94%. And that's really what this is all about. So to your point, when we're talking to donors, this is about investing. It's about investing in these young people who are going to get their degrees, and some will go play, some won't. And what they will all have is their degrees. And it takes incredible members of our Crimson Club to do that. And Mike, there's one thing I was disappointed about. I've said over and over again, we're trying to chase Stanford down on this graduation rate. And they came in a little bit higher than that. But I feel like I'm going to call Bernard, their AD there, that even though we're going separate conferences, I still think we're going to have a little competition.
A little West Coast competition.
I've been trying to track those guys down now for the last 5 years. But remarkable. Think about the difference that makes for these young people and their families, that they came here and competed at the highest level. And these last few years, we've been at an incredibly high level competitively, but they're leaving here with degrees, and that's what it's all about.
Well, Mark, we could have talked about several more things, but we had to kind of get this show wrapped up as we head toward the holidays. Kind of a time to reflect and pause a bit. And as you said to Alissa, this is the last lap in the Pac-12. We get to January, the winter sports and spring sports. This is kind of it. So kind of a chance to regroup and recharge, and should be a fun next 5-6 months coming up for us.
Yeah, well said. And then just to everybody that supports the Utes, all our fans, donors, everybody, I want to wish everybody just a great holiday season, and appreciate and so grateful for everybody's engagement, whether it's investment, cheering for us, whatever it might be. We can't do it without everyone's support, and we're very, very grateful.
All right. Our thanks to Matt Sanchez, Nick Bollerjack, also Paul Kirk, and Corey Sue Holmes. Thanks to Alissa Pili for dropping by. Mark, to you and your family, Carolyn, and the kids, have a great holiday season, and thanks for the time.
You too, Mike. Thank you.
All right. That will do it for this edition of the Hear From Harlan podcast. For Mark Harlan, I'm Mike Leishfield. Happy holidays. We'll see you back in January. Until then, so long, everybody.
For more episodes of the Hear It From Harlan podcast, search for it on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Alexa, Spotify, and YouTube.